Hello, everybody. I've got the handheld.
I like that.
It's good, right? I'm like a little bit like a rock star.
Good.
I might start singing. Chef, first of all, welcome to both of you. Thank you all so much for coming. We have a big treat for you. I'm hearing a little echo. I'm going to go with it. Both chefs are going to show us how to make one of their most famous dishes, and it's actually a dish very dear to my heart. Caesar salad, but not any Caesar salad. This is a special talk room Caesar salad invented by these two, and start cooking.
Thank you, Melissa. It's really a pleasure being here. Thanks for inviting us, Chef. It's always a pleasure. This is Chef's debut on a stage, so let's give him a warm up. You got to start somewhere, right? Anyway, and I want to thank all of you for coming today. It's a real pleasure to have you. I know it's a little gloomy outside, but it is New York in the fall. And of course, I want to thank the New York Times for bringing so many wonderful people together to enjoy the day, have some great food, have some alcohol, maybe some coffee after the alcohol, and then spend some time with us and others to follow, because it's going to be a great day, not only for some demonstrations, but also for some conversations I hear. So Caesar salad, all of you know that Caesar salad originated in Tijuana, Mexico in 1924. A gentleman named Cesar Cardini, Italian descent, had a restaurant there, and it was during the busy time of the year, which I'm not sure what time of year that was, and there was a lot of guests in the dining room that he wanted to try to relieve some of the work that the kitchen chefs were doing. So he decided to prepare a salad in the dining room. Therein lies the birth of the Caesar salad. Legend says that his brother Alex was the first one to actually throw the anchovies in the salad. So here we have. So we have our Caesar salad. Jared's making our little paste, which is made with the anchovies. We use 2 anchovies. Historically, the cured anchovy was the one that was used. We have one here from Sardinia. That's the original anchovy that was used. It's really robust in flavor. It's got a bit of salt in it, so that adds that flavor that we like. And then we've added, recently, a lot of chefs have started adding the white anchovy, or the bucaron from Spain.
Chef Keller, can I ask you, let me just ask you, when did the white anchovies start to be added to Caesar salad? Because it's not something I grew up with, it's something new.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I'm not really sure when it started, but I kind of like it. I love anchovies. I'm not sure how many love anchovies, but to have that little bit of anchovy as a garnish on top of the salad is really kind of this little extra prize that you get, like Cracker Jack. But we don't do that at Tack Room. We'll grind all of our anchovies together to make our paste. So we're going to make an emulsification. You all know what emulsification is, right? It's when you combine 2 liquids together, right? And they're combined together in this case, there's a lot of lecithin in our egg yolk. So the lecithin acts as a hydrocolloid, right? Combining liquids together to suspend them. And so we're going to use our egg yolk, the lecithin, and then we're going to add our olive oil and our vinegar, and we're going to make an emulsification so it feels like a creamy vinaigrette, or like a mayonnaise.
Okay, so the vinegar, that's a little bit unusual. Most Caesar salad, they just have lemon juice.
Lemon juice, right? So there are two ways to enhance the flavor of your food. Any of you know what those 2 ingredients are that enhance the flavor of your food? Salt and acid, right? Salt and acid, those are the 2 things. So we'll use salt in many ways, of course, both as a pre-flavor enhancer, and also at the end, putting coarse salt on a steak and having that crunch is such a wonderful, compelling thing. So that enhances the flavor of your food, and then acid does the same thing. And of course, acid comes from citrus or from vinegar.
So you mix the lemon and the vinegar together?
Yeah. So the lemon really kind of gives it that fresh kind of boost. Vinegar is old and been aged, and so the acid in that lemon juice really gives that freshness and that pop.
Okay, and Jared, what else is in this bowl? So you talked about the white anchovies, the brown anchovies. What else?
There's a little bit of Dijon mustard, roasted garlic, raw garlic, and a little bit of Parmesan.
Okay, and can you guys see that on the screen? You can't, should we put it, okay.
Shooting down.
They're shooting down. Okay, so you can see how it's already, the emulsification has already started. It's got a good paste and it's come together.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure I'd call that an emulsification, but it's okay. We'll call it a paste. We'll call it a paste.
I'm calling it emulsification.
Okay, that's fine. I quickly want to, one of the things that, and Melissa and I talked about this a little earlier, is the advent of the Parmesan Crisps, which we all really love. I mean, it's the cheese, but it's also crunchy. Who doesn't like crunchy cheese? So Parmesan Crisps are really easy to do, and you can make them, you can actually shape them beforehand to make them nice and pretty and make little baskets out of them as they're pliable. In this case, we're just going to grate Parmesan cheese on what we like, which is a silpat or portable Teflon, if you will, right?
So this, the Parmesan Crisps, I first learned of it as something called frico. Do you know what I'm talking about? So an Italian cheese fritter.
Oh,
and,
yeah?
And now it's become something that I've seen on Caesar salad. I've seen it as a base for hors d'oeuvres. What other ways can you use that at home?
Well, I like to put it on a cheeseburger, and then put it down, and you get this crispy
Really?
cheese on cheeseburgers.
Ooh, that sounds good. What about you, Jared? Do you ever use it for crazy things at home?
I don't do a lot of cooking at home currently.
Do you steal those from work, bring them home, and then use it to for a dip instead of chips?
What did he say? He doesn't cook at home?
She's accusing me of stealing on stage.
Yeah, I said that he steals Parmesan Crisp from work, takes them home and uses it instead of chips for a dip,
all right, that's
like
all right.
guacamole.
Oh, that works.
That's an interesting idea.
Yeah, just saying.
Yeah, you can find a number of different ways to use them, and it's very easy. So we have an oven at 360 degrees. We're just going to put that in the oven. We're going to watch it. If you have an oven with a glass door, turn the light on. When it starts to bubble and get a nice brown, then just pull it out, let it cool down, and then once it's cooled down, it turns crispy, and you can just break it apart to any size you want.
Note the 360 degrees. Just somewhere between 350 and 375 on your little knob. It's fine.
Magic. We have it all done. Perfect.
Magic.
Well done. And so sorry. Get back here. So you can see we have one huge Parmesan crisp, right? Really big.
Ooh, pretty.
Or you can just break it apart and
So Chef Jared was just saying before
make good snacks.
that you shouldn't make them too thin or too thick. What's the proper depth? Like 1/8 of an inch?
I think that was Goldilocks, wasn't it? But yeah, I
1/16 of
mean,
an inch?
it wants to be lacy,
Right.
So you don't want to completely, have a complete layer of cheese when you're grating it. So having a little space on the cheese is really good. I'm sorry, just.
But not
you can
too.
kind of see that, right?
Right.
Little spacing, it'll melt together, but it'll still come out a little lacy.
But not too thin either. Not too lacy.
I mean, it's okay. Too thin is a matter of preference and a
Better?
matter
Okay.
of being able to actually pick it up and move it around. If it's too thin, it's just going to crumble apart.
Right.
Which means that you're just going to have Parmesan crumbles as opposed to Parmesan
tastes good no matter
crisps.
what.
Exactly, right? Crunchy little bits of Parmesan.
Yeah, what could be bad about that?
Sorry?
What's that?
Huh? Okay.
Moving on.
Yeah.
So we talked about the paste that we just made with our anchovies, and if you're going to make, this is really good stuff for a lot of different things, not just for Caesar salad. You can use it to flavor mayonnaise for a sandwich if you like. You can do a lot of different things with it. You can use it as a tapenade. You all know what tapenade is, right? So it's olives, from the south of France where they mix together, and that's kind of like what a Caesar salad is. There are a lot of different recipes for Caesar salad. It's never really something that has a classic recipe to it. In the same way as Niçoise tapenade doesn't. It's interpretive. The one mother will make it differently than another mother, but it still basically has olives in it. So this is the same thing as Caesar salad. You can modify to whatever you want it to be. So we have our paste there. We forgot something. We're gonna add, one of the things that we like to do, and I got ahead of myself. So we have a whole garlic clove here. We don't really have a lot of raw garlic in our Caesar salad, just because it's a restaurant and we don't want to have people have that garlic breath afterwards. Sometimes people on first dates, things like that. So there's a lot of things to consider when you're a chef at a restaurant.
But you said there's a little in there,
There's a little bit of raw
touch.
garlic in that. But what we'll do is this is what we do at the restaurant. I'm not suggesting you have to do it at home, but it's an idea and something that you can learn from, is we'll take a little bit of Maldon salt or coarse salt, and we'll take our fresh garlic clove, and then we'll kind of crush it up and let that molten salt adds like a little bit of abrasive to the garlic, and you can start to see the oil coming out into the bowl. And so we can perfume the bowl with our raw garlic clove a little bit, crushing it up, making sure that oil comes out of there.
It's very helpful if you use a wooden bowl, because if you try to do this in a glass bowl, it's a lot harder because it just slips all around and then the garlic falls off, and this has happened to me. Right. So wooden is good.
So that's good. You can see, and you can see that, right?
Yeah, you can see the oils.
You can see it at home, but getting that oil out gives it just a hint of that raw garlic flavor, okay, without having a lot of raw garlic in it. Then, of course, we have our egg yolks with our lecithin in it. This is going to help us make our emulsification.
Now, you have a very specific instruction on the recipe about the egg yolks.
Yes.
You want to...
The Chilesi.
The Chilesian. Yeah. So the Chilesian, that little white protein part of the egg yolk, it must come off, right, Chef?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because I just don't like it. Doesn't really add anything. And mostly, it's, you know, we have habits, right, in the kitchens, and so anytime I make scrambled eggs,
you take it off for scrambled eggs?
Seriously? Eggs, yeah. And that kind of
that's a lot before you drink your coffee.
That kind of keeps me on that kind of path. So I always take it off. Why wouldn't I always take it off if I take it off for the scrambled eggs?
Why indeed?
Right. So there we go. So we're going to start adding our oil and our vinegar, a little stream at a time. And I'm using, stop just for a second, Chef, don't get ahead of me. So I'm using the back of the spoon, as opposed to a whisk, because I'm going to keep the spoon and use the spoon. I like to try to be effective and efficient. If I used a whisk, I'd have to wash the whisk. Using the spoon, I can use it to mix my salad. But always just kind of using as much of that back of the spoon as I can. You can see I'm getting a lot of surface contact there. Okay, it's not just the tip of the spoon like that, which would allow me to make which would actually threaten the success of the emulsification. Right?
How do you feel about making this in a blender? Just asking hypothetically.
Oh, I think it's fine, but it takes away from the ritual. Remember, you know, food is also about rituals, and you know, the Caesar salad. If you respect the ritual of the Caesar salad being prepared in the dining room, as Cesar Cardini did in 1924, then, you know, and the history of it, then we want to try to maintain that. I think history is really important. Rituals are really important, and so making it in a wooden bowl, as you pointed out,
right?
Making it to order, as we do. Getting certain things prepared is fine, but I think we want to always try to make the Caesar salad as it was originally made, or as we think it was originally made.
Right.
Unless there was somebody there in 1924 that was with Cesar Cardini. Anybody here was there that day? Okay. So
all of us. We were all there. You weren't? Where were you?
Okay. I wish I could ask questions, but
you can ask me.
Yeah.
Can ask
you
Jared.
Ask me questions.
I am asking you questions.
You can go a little fast. So once you start to get an emulsification going, then you can start to speed up the amount of oil that you add, because you're pretty safe. Okay. But you want to stop now for a second.
So now the vinegar is separated onto the bottom, so you're going to use all of that, right?
Yeah.
That's pre-measured?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's oil and vinegar, so the oil is the first thing that goes in, obviously, because the vinegar falls to the bottom. We make a nice mayonnaise. You can see that. It's nice and creamy. And that creaminess is what we really like on our tongue in our salad. It coats the leaves very well. At Bouchon, we do a vinaigrette that's also emulsified for our salad. It's just a normal vinaigrette.
Do you do anything else tableside at Talk Room, or is it just the Caesar salad?
We'll
you do a lot.
We'll carve things tableside.
Yeah.
So we'll carve the chicken for two tableside. We'll carve the prime rib, thank you.
Shorter Wellington.
The Wellington, yeah. What else? The Dover sole.
And that's a big part of the aesthetic of the restaurant.
Yes.
What made you want to do that? Why was the tableside service so important to your vision for the Talk Room?
Well, the Talk Room is from a historical point in American history during the 50s and 60s, when they had the great restaurants here in New York, where the Stork Club, the Colony,
right.
You know, LA had Chasen's and the Brown Derby. San Francisco had the Blue Fox. So we had all these great continental cuisine restaurants, which were the most famous restaurants in America during that period of history. So we're just trying to represent that time in American history. So go ahead, Chef, we'll finish off.
So the menu is very classic, but I saw that you had a lot of updated things too. Like you had classic chicken pot pie.
Very good.
Yeah, it was delicious.
Yeah. Oh, you had it?
Yeah, I came, journalistic research, I had to go to the tack room and have the Caesar salad before I came to talk to you about it. And then I had to have the chicken pot pie too because it was there and it was so good.
Yeah. Yeah. When we're developing these things, it took us a long time to develop the mold that actually made the crust and the top. So they're two separate molds.
What is what kind of pastry is it? Is it a pat
brisée.
Pat brisée, okay.
Yeah.
It's very flaky for a brisée. It was beautiful.
Yeah, that's Francis Lorenzini's pastry chef. That was his recipe for pat brisée.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it special? Is there a secret?
Francis Lorenzini used to be the pastry chef at a restaurant here called La Signa, one of the great 4-star restaurants of that Le times in New York City.
Yep.
We only have, I think the only restaurant that's left out of that period was La Grenouille.
That's right.
Yeah.
All the new Le's
right.
they're
And
new.
So Francis was the pastry chef at La Signa. I got to know him quite well, and he taught me how to make pat brisée. And so some things are just classical, and I learned how to make pat brisée, and it's the same recipe in 1982, I think. And so sometimes, we're always kind of looking for new things, but, tradition, classic opportunities to prepare food are so important. I remember the first time that puff pastry was available commercially. And it was really a good product, and we bought it for a little while. I had a small restaurant downtown here at the time. And then I realized if we only bought puff pastry, then we'd actually forget how to make it.
That's true.
And so I stopped buying it, and we continue to make it, just because we don't want to lose the ability to cook and to prepare things. And to do that, you always have to do it. So it's repetition, repetition, repetition. Okay.
You got your
Am I in
lettuce?
good shape here? I can do the salad? Okay.
Great shape.
So I see that you're using romaine that's cut into pieces,
Yeah.
but I once read that the original Caesar salad had whole leaves. What do you think of that?
So Cesar Cardini insisted that the Caesar salad leaves be torn.
Torn, okay.
Right. They
So it
weren't
was never whole, they were
never
just
whole
torn.
leaves. So they were torn leaves.
At the table.
No, well, I think they were, that's a good question. I'm not sure if you tore them at the table. Back then, people probably didn't care if you used his hand to tear their salad. Today, people would be very upset. But just so you all know, I mean, this idea of gloves, right? The health department makes us wear gloves during preparation of food.
Are they here?
Do you all feel safe when you see somebody with gloves on? I mean, it's the
I'm
most
getting a lot of
absurd-
shaking
it's the
of
most
the heads
absurd
here.
thing I've ever seen, because, if you have gloves on, you can still pick your nose. I mean, it's still. Okay, enough of that.
With that image, let's get
Okay.
back to the Caesar salad.
So I'm going to put a little salt here. And we love different kinds of salt, finishing salt, which have become very popular the past 10 years. There's the gray salt from Bordeaux, there's your own, the river, and there's, Malden salt comes from the English coast. There's fleur de sel. There's all different types of salt. We have, 10 different types. And it's nice to have finishing salt. So we like.
So which one is that? Is that Malden? Which one is that?
Malden. Yeah. I like Malden because it's kind of shaved, right?
Yeah, it's got that crystalline texture.
Right. Yeah, so you can see that, yeah.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Can you see that? I don't know if you can see that or not. Maybe they can see that. Maybe
I think they can see that.
Okay. And then we always ask our guests, do you like pepper or not? Because pepper,
yeah.
pepper's not a flavor enhancer, right? Pepper changes the flavor of your food. So if we want to add pepper, some people like pepper, some people don't like pepper. So we always ask if they like pepper, right?
I see pepper, yes. Everybody's going, yeah, I don't see any nose.
And then pepper is just this really, kind of very personal thing. It's like cooking eggs in the morning, how you like your eggs.
Well,
or how you like your
I
toast.
obviously don't care about the chalazion.
About toast, right? Yeah. So the amount of pepper that you use is really kind of a personal thing. Yes, and then we're just going to toss our salad, right?
And do you add more cheese at the very end?
Yeah, I just want to get this coated. And then we're going to finish it with some fresh lemon juice, okay? Just to give it that freshness that we like. Make sure you pull your seeds out before you try to do
So, Chef,
this.
when you have your server at the restaurant make the salad, there's a certain amount of margin for error because they're putting the lemon on, they're putting the cheese on, they're making those decisions. Does that ever make you nervous? That they're going to put too much?
It doesn't really make me nervous. It's one of those things that everybody, and chef can talk about this. I mean,
Jared, does it make you nervous?
It's really
since you're the chef there every day.
We do a lot of training
Okay.
on everything that's prepared tableside. So We also trust that our captains, our back servers, our maitre d's are doing the job to the best of their ability. We have a lot of trust in them. So.
But it makes you maybe slightly a little nervous?
No, because I wander around the dining room and I watch them all do it.
Actually, when the gentleman who's doing it when I was there, he goes, chef might be watching. He was very careful.
Yeah.
It was delicious. He did a great job.
This is actually the hardest thing for them to do. I mean, the chicken comes out. We've cooked the chicken. The only thing they have to do is carve it, right? The Dover sole is cooked. All they have to do is bone it, things like that. But the Caesar salad can be somewhat tricky if you don't get the emulsification started correctly. It's just going to be a broken vinaigrette. Is it going to affect the flavor? Not really, but it affects the texture, right? So those are things. And as Jared said, we spend a lot of time, in training. So I'm just going to put a little bit of my favorite stuff, cheese.
And so does the texture of the cheese matter?
Yeah.
Are you looking for that particular kind of fineness, or could it be finer or coarser?
I want this to coat the leaves and kind of almost disappear and add to that quality of the mouthfeel.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it should be on the fine side.
Yeah, right. And then we'll just add our Parmesan Crisps. We'll add our, is this pan de campagna? Pan de campagna croutons.
So how did you make those? Do you fry them or bake them? What do you do?
No, they're just baked in the oven.
They're baked with olive oil, salt, and pepper?
A little bit of salt,
No
pepper.
No pepper, right, salt. I learned this recently, but then Angie Marr yesterday talked about it again. Never to pepper when you're going to cook with high heat because it burns. Is that, you are nodding.
Burns very quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the hardest part for me. Usually I use my hands without gloves on, just so you know, just to be totally transparent, okay? But I wash my hands hundreds of times a night.
So many times.
And most of you saw me do the fist bump, right? And I do that so I don't shake people's hands, so I don't have to wash my hands as often, because anyway.
Chef is very careful about the germs.
Yeah, very careful about the germs.
So would it make you uncomfortable if after you plated that I ate it with my hands?
Yeah.
It's okay?
Sure.
Okay. I don't have to share with you. I don't mind. Because that looks perfect. So you can see how the emulsification is glossy, it's not broken, it's very smooth. You can see in the bottom of the bowl too.
And then we'll always ask, would you like more cheese? And 99.9% of people say, yeah, I love more cheese. And so we just come out and just do more cheese.
What if someone says, can I have extra anchovies, the brown ones?
Well, we bring anchovies out from the kitchen. So one thing that I want to make sure that you all understand is we're a restaurant, we're there for you. So if you want something a little different, just ask for it, right? If you want more anchovies or no anchovies or whatever. And don't ever be embarrassed if you want your steak well done, okay? It's not a problem. People come in and say, I'm really sorry, but I eat my meat well done. I don't really care. I'm going to make you the best well-done steak you've ever had. So in restaurants, there's always this idea of intimidation in restaurants, but, really from our point of view and our professional point of view is that you're the guest. If you ask for a question, the answer should be no problem. So anyway, more anchovies?
More, yes, please. More anchovies.
You like these anchovies,
Yeah,
don't
I like
you?
those. Those are my favorite.
Yeah.
Personally, I think the marinated ones are better, like on toast, as tapas. On my Caesar salad, I like the brown ones. I know Jared actually, he and I were talking about this before. He says he likes coarsely chopped anchovies, brown anchovies, and garlic, right? You like the bite of it.
I do.
Do you
I like it spicy.
Spicy
because of the amount of garlic in the
from
soup.
garlic. So it should tingle.
I just like anchovies.
Me too.
Yeah, however, I'm a pretty big fan of most food. I should say all food. Anyway, so that's your Caesar salad. Hopefully you learned something. If there's things you don't like about what we did here in terms of the ingredients, take them out. If there's things you want more of, add more of it. It's really up to you. The most important thing is that you do something that you like, that your family likes, or that your friends like, and something that you're really proud of. And that's really what we like to do. Is cooking's all about is pleasing people. I just want to point out that you have a picture of the Caesar salad on a little card. And so a little bit of marketing here. I feel awkward. I'm not a really big marketer. But if you come to the tack room, you can have a Caesar salad on us, okay? And then you've got one of my most favorite things and go-to snacks. So it's a tack snack at our restaurant is the caramel popcorn, which actually began almost 18 years ago at Bouchon Bakery, and we decided to do it at the tack room because it fit, that period of time. I mean, I don't know how many of you remember Cracker Jack back in the day when it was really Cracker Jack. Today, I'm not sure if it's really Cracker Jack anymore. But we started doing the caramel popcorn with peanuts in it at Bouchon Bakery, and it just felt right for tack room. So anyway, I'm always over there in the pastry department stealing.
All right.
Anyway.
Jared, anything that we missed? Any little words of wisdom? Otherwise, can we eat that salad? You want to eat that salad?
Yeah, with your hands, though.
All right. Thank you, chef, so much. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you. Thanks for coming, everybody. We very much appreciate it.
Thank you all for coming. Please come back at 1:15 for Weeknight Entertaining with Chef Allison Roman.